I was gliding down Fifth Avenue in my Model S feeling bulletproof. Tonight was Leah's law school graduation party, the one I'd bankrolled to the tune of 48 grand. Jazz trio, gold leaf appetizers, a venue in Lower Manhattan that charged by the ego. She'd called it a once-in-a-lifetime celebration. I'd swiped my black Amex and told the planner to make it perfect. Traffic was suspiciously light. Red flag number 1. When I pulled up, the place was dark. No valet, no music, no light spilling onto the sidewalk. I tried the doors. Locked. The kind of lock that says no one's been here in hours. I called Leah. Voicemail. I called again. On the 4th try, she answered, laughter and clinking glasses in the background. "Hey, babe." "I'm at the venue," I said. "It's dead. What's going on?" "Oh, a beat." Then that laugh that used to melt me. "The party ended 2 hours ago. I didn't want you there." The words hit like a truck. "I paid for the entire thing." I know. It was beautiful. The trio? Great choice. Click. I stood, on the sidewalk, phone in hand, city roaring around me like none of it mattered. Then I made my second mistake. I opened Instagram. There she was in the champagne gold dress I bought in Soho, kissing Dominic Kane, her senior partner, the man whose name had been a constant guest in our conversations. The caption, "Couldn't have done it without you." My sponsor through law school. The comments were a shrine of heart-eye emojis, and finally, so sponsor. I had paid for 3 years of tuition, rent, the BMW she called essential for networking, the trips, the clothes, the everything, and she handed the credit to Dominic for likes. The humiliation burned cold. I drove home on autopilot and went straight to my office. Bottom drawer, a black leather binder, 3 years of meticulous records, transfers, invoices, tuition bills. Every dollar accounted for because love is generous and smart people keep receipts. And tucked behind those pages was the part Leah never knew. 18 months earlier, at her urging, I'd met Dominic about his firm, Kane Dynamics. Smart guy, solid plan, huge capital gap. I funded the entire thing, startup through expansion, in exchange for 90% ownership and full voting control. He kept 10% and the CEO title. The paperwork was platinum grade. The market now valued Kane at $174.4 million. My 90% was worth about $157 million. Offers sat in my inbox from 3 buyers, one from Blackstone Legal Partners at $195 million if current. Management stayed for 2 years. They wanted Dominic. I poured a Macallan 25, opened my laptop, and stopped being a husband with hurt feelings. I became what I am, an operator. First, I pulled every lever I owned, the venue, caterer, and band payments, disputed and canceled, material, breach. The contract named Mr. and Mrs. Thompson's celebration, and Mr. Thompson hadn't been allowed to attend. The corporate Amex I'd given Leah as an authorized user, frozen. The joint account for tuition reimbursements, emptied and closed. The arteries of her lifestyle, cut. Then the main event. I accepted Blackstone's offer. 48 hours to settle. Funds wired Monday. I slept like I hadn't in months. At 6:30 a.m., my phone looked like Times Square. 156 missed calls. Leah's texts were a symphony in 5 movements: confusion, annoyance, anger, panic, threat. Dominic's were stiff and, for the record, vendors and CFOs left increasingly frantic voicemails. I made espresso and listened like it was a podcast. The doorbell rang. Maya, Leah's assistant, stood there wrecked. Payroll glitches, vendors calling, Leah hysterical with dead cards and frozen accounts. "She sent me to find you," Maya said. "She thinks you're the only one who can fix it." "I'm just a guy with 156 missed calls," I said. "Sounds like they have business problems." She stared at me, understanding dawning, and left. I drafted something I called Terms for Resolution of Current Financial Disruptions. 5 items, dry as contract law, public correction. Leah would post across all socials and send to legal industry outlets that I funded her entire education, tuition, living, everything, and apologize for incorrect suggestions otherwise. Draft attached. Executive resignation. Dominic would resign from Kane Dynamics immediately. No severance, no options, full cooperation with transition, marital asset protection. Leah waived all claims to my separate property, investments, real estate, IP, business equity, mutual NDAs, no public or private commentary on my business or personal affairs, enforcement, breach equals injunctions, damages, and clawback actions. I sealed the envelope and gave it to Maya to hand-deliver. 24 hours to sign. That evening, Leah arrived in the same dress from Instagram, now wrinkled and stained, hair undone, eyes raw. She tried a lawyer voice. It wasn't supposed to hurt you. You threw a party I paid for and barred me, then credited your boss for paying for your life, I said. Hurt was the point. Tears, apologies, explanations about pressure and pride. I let her talk, then pointed to the envelope. Those terms aren't a negotiation. Sign or learn what it looks like when I stop subsidizing your life, avos. Left with the papers. Monday, Park Avenue. Kane Dynamics reception hummed with rumor. The board was in conference room A at 7 a.m., faces sheet white, spreadsheets bleeding red. Dominic was already gone, resigned by email at dawn, escorted out. I dropped copies of the acquisition agreements on the table. As of this morning, Blackstone is your controlling shareholder. But Michael, the CFO, said, you owned 15%, I smiled. 90, from day one. It's all in the filings. Silence stretched until it snapped. I told them Blackstone's team would meet them that afternoon to assess strategic alignment. Corporate translation, brace for restructuring. I left them to it. 2 weeks later, I stood in a drafty Brooklyn warehouse while a 27-year-old named Ava demoed a legal research platform that actually solved a problem. 6 engineers, a whiteboard, jungle, and real traction with pilot firms. $15 million for 45% and a board seat, I offered. Ops stay with you. I wrote the check. It felt like oxygen. 3 days after that, Leah met me in a quiet Upper East Side cafe. She'd showered. The mask was back on but cracked. Your terms are designed to humiliate me, she said. They're designed to correct the record, I said, sliding over the draft post. Read it aloud. Make it sound like you. She stumbled, tried again. We workshopped until it felt human. She asked about Dominic. I showed her the transfer records. Kane was my company. He had vision. I had capital. The cup rattled in its saucer. I didn't know. You never asked, I said. Post tonight. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, and email it to the legal outlets that covered you. It'll destroy my reputation. It'll tell the truth before someone else does. She signed the envelope's terms and left like she was carrying plutonium. 6 months later, sunlight spilled across hardwood in a modest Upper West Side apartment. 2 bedrooms, no marble, no design or anything. The divorce had been quick and clean. Leah signed everything her lawyer explained she couldn't win. She moved to Portland to do legal aid housing cases. She wrote me a handwritten apology about finally understanding the difference between prestige and worth. I filed it away. Closure, not keepsake. Dominic landed as a senior associate in Chicago, doing corporate compliance and posting alumni panels on LinkedIn. A cautionary tale. Ava. Texted, closed Morrison Industries, 2.3 Matter ARR drinks at 6. Lynn Technologies now had 12 major clients and offices in Boston and San Francisco. VCs were circling. She'd made the cover of a legal tech magazine. For once, someone got the spotlight who'd earned it. I looked around my ordinary place, with my ordinary coffee, and realized I hadn't lost anything that mattered. I'd stopped funding people who confused generosity with entitlement. I'd sold a company built on pretense and reinvested in one built on substance. I'd traded performance for life. My phone rang again. "Rooftop in Brooklyn," Ava said. "You in?" "Wouldn't miss it," I said, grabbing my jacket. 6 months ago, I stared at a locked door and thought my world had ended. Turns out it had only just started.